Asleep at the wheel. The risks of sleep deprivation to health are widely known, and now its social and economic costs have also caught the attention of organisations and governments. By Carolyn Zielinski. Article begins. Sleep deprivation is costing the Australian economy $14.4 billion in direct losses and $36.6 billion in non-financial costs, such as the loss of well-being. The federal government recognised the scale of the problem in 2018, launching a full-scale inquiry on sleep health awareness. However, despite the resources directed to the business community and its leaders to educate them about the benefits of a well-rested workforce, many sectors, accounting and finance chief among them, continue to wear sleep deprivation as a badge of honour. Lack of sleep affects some of the key cognitive functions we need to be productive and effective, including critical thinking, memory and attention, says Professor Shanta Rajaratnam, chair of the Sleep Health Foundation. She says, the result of that is many aspects of our work-related functions and performance are impaired. We make poorer decisions, have reduced capacity to solve novel, complex problems, and to process information and to regulate our emotional responses to what's happening around us. While Australia is widely regarded as a relaxed and happy-go-lucky nation, research into our changing work habits tells a different story. Over the past 2 decades, the average number of full-time hours worked has increased significantly, resulting in Australia having some of the longest working hours among full-time employees in OECD countries. Psychotherapist Dr. Zoe Krupka, senior lecturer at the Can Miller Institute in Melbourne, has lived and worked all over the world. She says Australian workplace attitudes towards sleep, especially in industries such as accounting, banking, finance and law, are unhealthy. She says, what I've noticed is that Australians have similar attitudes towards sleep as they do in North America. It's all this bravado around not sleeping, and we are seeing this distortion in capacity and bravado around overwork specific to sleep. People are severely overestimating their capacity when they're tired. People are often surprised by those tests they do when they're tired and driving. They're not aware of how distracted they actually are. Deloitte has been among the workplaces driving the change in attitude around sleep. In October last year, Deloitte ran a campaign aiming to raise awareness about the benefits of sleep by educating employees on the importance of good sleep hygiene and encouraging them to monitor their sleep patterns over the course of a month. Throughout the campaign, staff were provided with information on building good sleep habits, the importance of sleep, the impact technology and other behavioural and lifestyle factors have on sleep, and the potential impacts of sleep on individual productivity. Deloitte has also been encouraging other businesses to treat sleep as a fundamental business issue by factoring a good night's rest into productivity incentives. Corporates hoping to rehabilitate their always-on culture by throwing money behind the burgeoning $61.6 million Australian corporate wellness industry with its sleeper pods and corporate meditation rooms will be disappointed. The only way to combat sleep deprivation and overwork is to work less and to physically switch off at the end of each working day. This is particularly important with the advent of remote and flexible working environments, where technology and work intrude on our personal lives. Having this pressure to respond to work demands outside of working hours makes it more difficult to detach, says Rebecca Mitchell, Associate Professor at Macquarie University's Department of Management. What organisations don't understand is that if they want to get great work out of people and have them stay long term, they have to allow them to detach from work, to actually leave work, to limit the telly pressure, and to stop seeing sleep as being for sissies, she says. Deloitte, in partnership with the Sleep Health Foundation, has estimated the direct and indirect costs of sleep deprivation to be $51 billion per year. Jared Stratfield, Associate Director of Health Economics and Social Policy at Deloitte Access Economics, says they arrived at the number using the cost of illness framework. He says, "We use this framework to comprehensively measure the cost of a particular condition, which we then can compare to the impact of other health conditions and the costs of interventions to reduce the burden of a condition." The report team, which also included the Sleep Health Foundation chair, Chanta Rajaratnam, looked at the economic and health impacts of 3 particular sleep-related disorders: obstructive apnea, insomnia, and restless leg syndrome, which collectively affect about 1 in 5 Australians. The report then considered the cost impact of sleep disorders, such as absenteeism, early retirement, presenteeism, need for informal caregiving, work accidents due to fatigue, and premature mortality, as well as the loss of quality of life. While governments and corporates focus on the figures, they're only part of the picture. Economists focus on the profit and productivity loss, says Macquarie University's Rebecca Mitchell. But what we're really talking about is real issues affecting real people due to undue stress and lack of sleep. The government has a focus on profitability and on looking at sleep as a diagnosable issue. But in reality, if you don't detach from work and don't sleep well, your quality of life will suffer. You can cope with a lot if you have the opportunity to recover, and sleep is critical to that recovery process. Dr. Zoe Krupka points out that economic arguments don't always make sense either. Plenty of evidence shows that working less, being less busy, and sleeping more are the best ways to be actually more creative, productive, and efficient. Yet we continue to think that only programs driven by economic arguments will cost less. It's culturally intolerable for us to be bored, to do nothing. Yet if we don't rest and sleep, we become much more reactive, and it becomes much harder for our bodies to tell the difference between what is urgent. Everything becomes anxiety-provoking. Like the road signs say, only sleep cures fatigue.